Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at crackthefemalecode.com. Okay, so this video is going to be about something that happened to you in the womb. This is biological. It's something that we learn when we study biology, or if you go deep enough into psychology. It shifted and altered your brain and the way your brain is connected, and it limited you. What it did was it set a certain amount of males at a very huge disadvantage. And it set off the battle of the sexes. So just so you know, the music is going to go down in about another 60 seconds. So in this video, number one, I'm going to talk to you about what the damage was done, okay, physically to something inside your brain. Number two, I'm going to tell you what society does through our educational system, etc., that reinforces this. And both of these things absolutely limit 90+% of the males. The third thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip on the difference in how men and women communicate and why the male language turns a woman off and what you can do about it. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a final warning. When I first learned this, it was shocking, and I think at the time in my life, I was 20 years old, I was waking up and just seeing life and everything for what it was, versus what I was told that it was. So here's the deal. The one side of this is really, really ugly. And you were treated a certain way, especially by the opposite sex, by women, but not only women, but by society. And you're like, see, Mike, that's the way it is. But there's another side to this entire thing. There's another side to everything, and that's the problem. The male brain was not designed to see the other side. And that is what Crack the Female Code is all about. And you get all the benefits. Alright, so one day, I was a real strong churchgoer. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I mean, since I could walk. I went to church every Sunday, my whole life. I went to Bible study. I went to church 2, sometimes 3 times on Sundays. I went to 2 Bible study groups, etc. So I did this my whole entire life. Now, I'm going to talk about the Bible, but this is not about the Bible or the church. Okay, so when I was about 19, I noticed in the Bible, maybe I was 20, I noticed the Bible started talking about meditation. So God would say, you know, meditate upon these words, meditate upon this, meditate upon that. And yet, and this is the part you see one side but not the other, church people would say, oh, meditation is evil. And I was like, so then why would God tell people to meditate? It didn't make any sense. So I went to Pastor Rex, someone I really admired, and I marked out at least 10 or 15 or more places where God said to meditate in one way or another upon these words, upon this psalm, upon whatever. And Pastor Rex said, yeah, you're right, you should meditate. I'm like, so why does everyone in the church say that it's wrong and evil? Like literally, like you shouldn't do it, it's bad. He said, Michael, I told you, stop listening to those people. They're not putting effort into the word. In other words, one thing he would say is they would just scroll across he goes, yeah, they're reading the Bible, but they're just scrolling their eyes across the words. They're not digging deep. And the way he would say it is, they're supping from the teat like a little baby sucks on its mother's nipples. People who are powerless do not want you to learn how to gain your own power. That is 100,000% what Crack the Female Code and Mike Kollin is all about. It's about you opening up to your power. Now here's the really interesting thing. It actually exists. It's not just some guy coming along, oh, learn, like Tony Robbins, personal power. There's something you can actually do to tap into your power, and it actually exists inside you. You just don't know what it is, you don't know where it is, and you don't know how to tap into it. And it was all by design, on purpose, and I'm going to explain what that purpose is. Alright, so here's what it was. So I was going through this awakening. So when you start to meditate a lot, you start to open up to your larger left and right hemisphere. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck in the logical brain or the lower reptilian brain, okay, on the brain stem. So here I was studying the Bible, reading the actual Greek and Hebrew texts on what the words meant originally. A lot of the words that are translated into the English language are absolutely completely wrong. Like let's say this one, to fear the Lord God, right? A lot of people say, do you fear God? Like, no, I don't fear God at all. I love God. Well, the actual translation from the original language didn't mean fear at all. It meant to revere, to respect, and to, oh, what's the word? It's like you come under shelter, like you come to God for shelter. It has nothing to do with fear. So there's a lot of mistranslations that have been done. Okay, and again, I promise this isn't about the Bible. It's about understanding what's behind things. Okay, so I actually found that verse. It was kind of driving me nuts. So here it is, Psalm 57. It says, first, it's taking refuge in God, meaning that we turn towards Him for help, for protection, etc., okay? So I was going through an awakening when I was 20 years old, and I mean, it had been coming on pretty strong for about a year or so, and one day, I don't remember if I was quite 28, it might have been a year before, but it was during this, like, kind of like I was questioning things. So someone had told me about this new church in town, and I was like, no. And then one day I was like, I'm going to check it out. So I went there, and I went to Sunday church. So the pastor was fairly young. I'd say he's about 36, 38 years old. And what he said shocked the living shit out of me. And I didn't believe him. I didn't believe him at all. I thought, oh, that's bullshit. There's no way. So yeah, now that I think about it, it was earlier than that. I was younger than that. So this is what he said. He said, okay, so when we are in the womb, and I don't remember the actual amount of time. I don't know if it was 6 weeks or 6 months. I think it's more than 6 weeks. It's probably closer to 4 to 6 months. But there's a period of time when we're in the womb where the female's body will recognize the child as either male or female. So at first we're just kind of, cells, etc. We grow and grow, and eventually we will split off and either become male genitalia or female. Now here's what this video is about. When the female's womb or body recognizes the male or the baby inside the womb to be a boy or a male, it douses it with testosterone. So it douses the entire womb with testosterone. So why is her body doing this? Because her body is trying to kill the baby. That shocked the living hell out of me. I just was like, there's just no way. Now what he said after shocked me even more. Now, first of all, before I go on to that, I want to say something. I think it's important to be said right now. Everything in my studies, everything I've done, put together, studied, worked on is to help men and women to understand each other, to learn how to love each other, because we are actually loved in the opposite way. So when men try to love a woman in the male way, she can't receive your love in that way. So the course is not designed to get over on women, to manipulate women, to hurt women. No, it's all about love, communication, and understanding. And it's a form of a very powerful form of seduction that women wish men knew how to do. And the reason why she leaves you, gets mad, yells and screams after about 2 years, 3 years of being in a relationship is because she's been waiting this entire time for you to do this. But men don't know what this is, let alone how to do it. And that is what Crack the Female Code is all about. It empowers you in a relationship, and it gives her what she truly wants from a man and a relationship. And this is what's been missing the entire time. So the pastor went on and he said, so the dousing of the testosterone usually does not kill the baby. Sometimes it does. But what it does almost all the time, except for very rare occasions, okay, we're talking 1 out of almost 100, maybe 1 out of 80 or something like that, it damages the corpus callosum between the left brain and the right brain. So the corpus callosum, real simple, it's a bundle of nerves that connect the left side to the right side. So what does this do? It damages the connection between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and thus men get stuck in their left brain. So this limits us, okay? Here's what it does. Overall, so you're like, well, why would she do something like that? Because it gives her power over males. If you watch how your mother and your sister raise their children, from the daughters to the boys, totally different. The daughter is raised to be independent, to think for herself. The boy is always told what to do. Number one, when your brain is damaged like that, it puts you in the left brain. The left brain is the logical external brain. You're stuck there. This is literally called in-the-box thinking. The left brain is the in-the-box thinking. It's like you're trapped in a box. Number two, the left brain processes through rules, structure, and organization, and logic, okay? So the left brain is really, really good at processing and following rules. Do you want to know why I keep saying first, second, third, fourth, fifth? Because the left brain is designed to follow steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. The left brain loves rules. Here's the deal. If you give men steps or rules, they're happy. They know exactly what to do. They know what direction to go in. But if you don't give them steps, they get lost, they get confused. And when it comes to sales, they won't buy. There's a way to learn how to do this effectively to increase your sales and influence over people. The number one phone call I get a few months to 6 months after men take my 5 to 6 day course, Crack the Female Code, they will say, hey, I just realized I can use this in sales. I've been doing it for 3 months and it's absolutely increased my sales. Yes, there's a hidden secret in there that will help you to increase your sales that nobody's teaching. Nobody. Not Tony Robbins, nobody. So here's the deal. What does this do? It causes you to follow rules. So what does that mean? The left brain is also called the external linear brain. It means it's external, it goes outside, and it goes in a line, L-A-N-E, linear, okay? And this means you're really good at following the rules. The only problem is you need somebody to tell you what the rules are. And guess who that somebody is? Women. They let you think that you're in control. Trust me, you're not in control. Even in the 70s and 60s, men were not in control. The majority of men were absolute, total, complete followers. Now, it's absolutely worse. Majority of men now can't even think for themselves, and they don't even realize it. They follow rules really well, and they think that's thinking. That is not thinking. So remember earlier in the video I said, like, you see one side of it but you don't see the other. So but Mike, this is the way it is from that one perspective because you're stuck. But when you learn how to pop out of this and open up, everything switches 180 degrees for you. So on the one hand, women have control. You will cook for them, you will work for them, you will do anything for them to make them happy, to please them, okay? And this gives her security to have children, to raise children, to have a man around. But the problem is you become a servant. You become somebody she doesn't respect, someone she doesn't really like very well. And then you get mad at the guys that she goes after. And this is the secret that I'm trying to tell you. When you're in the box and you're one-sided, she can see that. All women can. All of them. It's not even a joke. I know, because here's the deal. When you pop out of that box, women will open up to you, and you see it from their perspective, and that's what this course is about. All of a sudden, it's like you literally, it's like, instead of being a rat inside the little aquarium, inside this little like lab thing where they're studying you and looking in on you, you step out of that, and then you can see how all the other men are stuck inside this little part of their brain, and it is the smaller part of the brain. So here's the deal. The bad news is that society views you as less than. Society views you as cannon fodder, and I'm not kidding. Your job is to die protecting them, to work your ass off, to feed them, to clothe them, and to build their homes and to give them better lives. Here's the deal. They do. You go off to war. Why? So people here at home can live a better life. You will dig ditches, you will plow fields, you will do everything for the rest of your days to make other people's lives better. But the problem is society never allows you to benefit from it. But you think you're going to lift weights, you're going to box. I did all this. I was a national champion in kickboxing, a state champion in boxing, wrestling champion, football. I mean, I did everything. Okay, wrestled in college, etc., etc. I was even in Army, airborne infantry, Screaming Eagles. So when you come home, people pat you on the back, good job, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm real proud of you. Hey, man, you got to get a job. And that's it. That's the celebration. A pat on the back. I'm really proud of you. Get a job. But admit it, you thought when you joined the football team, risking your knees getting torn out, risking your damaging your spine, your neck, breaking a leg, you thought you were going to get loved. You thought women were going to have sex with you. You thought people would respect you. You joined the military. You went and fought in war. Even if you never went to war, you joined the military thinking, hey, people are going to really respect me now. No, they don't. Some do. But then there's the other side. The other side looks at you and views you as it's your job to risk your life so I can live a better life, so I can live in a mansion, a better home, better cars, etc., etc. Alright, so remember when I told you about you see one side but not the other? Okay, here's one of the reasons why. And then I'm going to give you the benefit of when you snap out of it and jump to the other side. So I'm going to teach you the difference between inductive and deductive language and communication and thinking. So the male brain thinks in deduction. Since I can't drive any car, I won't be able to drive a Cadillac. So when I first was learning this at it was a 5-week training in Hawaii, now this part, the deduction, this is the left brain. This is how we think. We start in one little square and we study everything, and we go down to the middle and we study everything that's inside the box. So we master inside the box. We know everything that's inside the box, and that's it. Our brain loves this way of thinking. The problem is it completely blinds you and blocks you from everything that's outside of it. When that corpus callosum is damaged, this is what it does to you. It limits you down to this one little box. This is literally what we call in-the-box thinking. Have you ever heard the phrase, think outside of the box? Most men think, oh, you mean start thinking the way you think, or I want you to think the way I think inside my box so you can be just like me. That is in-the-box thinking, but you believe that that is outside of the box. No, just because it's a different box, it does not mean outside of the box. Different people have different beliefs in their box. That's why men will fight and argue back and forth constantly with each other. It's because they're doing inductive thinking. Sorry, I meant to say deductive thinking, so deduction. So if you get frustrated in life and you're really, really good at what you do, but you can't get ahead in life, this is why. Because you're stuck in thinking of going inside, filling up the box. This is deduction. A lot of men will say, let me deduce this. And you're coming from your ego, which is the smallest part of your brain. The minute a woman hears you say, oh, I'm logical, or let me deduct this, let me deduce. So deduction is the minus sign you're taking away from. The minute you do that, she's like, oh God, I'm out of here. Because men that think this way do not get ahead in life, and this does not trigger her mating system. When you do this form of thinking, it literally disconnects her from her mating system and turns her off, and thus you put yourself in the friend zone without even realizing what you did. You guys heard of lines and openers and gambits? Yep, deductive thinking. It does not work. It turns her off. It might get the conversation going, but it does not trigger her mating system. In fact, it disconnects it. You remember about 5 minutes ago I said the left brain, the logical brain, is the linear brain, L-I-N-E. Line, the external brain. That's why lines don't work. My goddaughter in a video said, yeah, don't do lines. Women can't stand that. We don't like that. They play along because they're hoping that you'll open up. And women say that all the time. Oh, I'm just looking for a guy who has an open heart, someone who's open emotionally or available. Available means open. Deduction is closed. Now I get it. You really like this form of thinking because you know how to do it. The other side you're not so good at. That's what Crack the Female Code is all about. Remember, deduction literally turns her off sexually, and she's just like, oh, I got to get out of here. You don't want to do that if you're trying to romance a woman. But this is what most men do. They use their logical brain. Don't do that. I'm going to give you one example of that. You think the more expensive your car is, or how about this? The more I pay for dinner, the more likely she's going to be happy, love me, and have sex with me. If you're honest with yourself, how many times you spent a lot of money on a woman because you wanted to have sex with her, and she said, I have a headache, I have to go home, or she got bored? Logical linear thinking turns women off, period. Now, I've got a video with my goddaughter from a long, I'm thinking this is probably 14 years ago or maybe 13 years ago. It was a long time ago, okay? And listen to what she says about lines.
What's the difference between my course and all the other pickup courses? Do I do cheesy lines?
No, no cheesy lines.
Do I teach cheesy lines?
No.
No. And the phrase that I have is tricks are for kids.
Yeah.
Would you say, okay, so when you go to the clubs, what do guys do? Can you tell when they're coming up giving you a mystery line or Vinda Carlo line, a cheesy line? That's what the cheesy line.
Yeah. It's like really easy to tell because, I don't know, it's that vibe. Like, it totally gives you away, you know, if you're not genuine. If if the guy doesn't believe in themselves, you know, like, or in himself, why would, like, the girl be attracted to him, you know? Like, sometimes guys approach you with this certain, like, look on their face that's like...
Like they're planning something?
Yeah.
Or they're thinking about what to say?
Yeah.
Or like they're trying to memorize the line?
It's like, relax, you know, come on.
All right, so believe it or not, but there's a lot to unpack in what she just said. Now, she was only 18 or 19 years old. It was her first year in college. Here's the deal. Women are born knowing this stuff. They are born this way. You have to learn it. You're completely oblivious to it. And let me point two things out. So that look on your face looks like a psycho. It's like you're thinking. It's like you're trying to manipulate her. Women can see that 100 million miles away. It is obvious. So here's the deal. When you are thinking in your logical brain, it forces her to go over to her logical brain. Remember, her mating system has a nerve that curves over to the right brain's communication center. When you're being Mr. Logical in thinking, she has to shift over to her left brain to process in the same processor so she can understand you. And thus, you literally just disconnected her from her mating system and turned her off. And thus, you are now in the friend zone. You did it to yourself. You're literally in the friends box. Literally. Now listen to the conversation we had. It's like those lines are things that you have to memorize. The left brain is not the intelligent brain. It is literally the memorization brain. I'm going to say something again until you get it. The left brain is the external brain. Well, how can women tell? Because your pupils get really small. The further you go in the left brain to find something, to memorize something, your pupils get small. And when you're thinking, you're in your left brain and your pupils get really tiny and they're looking outside of the body. Now, here's something key that she said. So first of all, I want to make sure when you're outside and external, when your eyes are out there, your voice becomes more logical, more nasally. It kind of narrow, like you're talking down a tube. That turns a woman off. It tells her mating system that you're in your logical system, which means you're not a good mate. Listen really closely to something she says in this section.
Yeah.
Would you say, okay, so when you go to the clubs, what do guys do? Can you tell when they're coming up giving you a mystery line or Vinda Carlo line, a cheesy line? That's what the cheesy line.
Yeah. It's like really easy to tell because I don't know. It's that vibe. Like it totally gives you away. You know, if you're not genuine, if the guy doesn't believe in themselves, you know, like, or in himself, why would like the girl be attracted to him? You know, like sometimes guys approach you with this certain like look on their face that's like
they're planning something.
Yeah.
Or they're thinking about what to say.
Yeah.
Or like you're trying to memorize the line.
It's like relax, you know, come on.
So when you're thinking, your energy shifts to being very logical, very linear and mechanical, because the left brain tightens your body up, and that makes your voice tight, makes your pupils get small. It does all kind. It makes your muscles tighter. Your face becomes more angular. Movement becomes mechanical. Women can see this a mile away, and so will you once you learn how to open up to the other side of your brain. It becomes super obvious, and you're going to look back, oh my God, no wonder why she was irritated by me. Because this was really, the voice alone, the eyes alone are irritating as fuck. So they can literally see it, hear it in your voice, and they can feel it. And it is an irritating feeling, and they don't like it. It is not romantic. So if you think being logic is romantic, let me tell you, you are wrong. Now, what else did she say? She said if he doesn't believe, listen closely, inside, in himself. The male brain is the external brain. This turns women off. The female brain, your right brain, so we have a left and a right brain, and this is the whole key. When you're in your right brain, it turns women on. This is called the internal brain. This is why women are always using what I call the internal language. They use words like inside, internal. They use the word connect or connecting or solid. They use a hidden language that goes right over your head, and I teach this to you in the course. When I start showing you this and how women process language and this hidden language that's internal, you're going to realize you've heard it your whole life, but you never even recognized it. Your brain never even acknowledged it. It went right past you. This frustrates the hell out of women because they try to teach it to you your whole life. But you look at them like they're weird and strange, and why are you speaking gobbledygook? You think they're just being stupid. But this hidden language is what turns a woman on. This also melts her heart and makes her fall in love with you. This is why after 3 or 4 years in a relationship, women get really cranky. They start complaining because they're like, God damn it, I need it. It's the whole reason they married you in the first place, and you're not doing it. So if you're a normal male where you're external, women look at you like, oh, he doesn't believe in himself, and she moves on to the next guy. Because her mating system is looking for a male that's internal. It's less than 1 out of 10 men. It's very rare. And it's very unconscious. All she knows is, I'm just not attracted to this guy. In fact, she's literally turned off and wants to get away from you. So when you're trying to think of what to say or trying to memorize and what's a cool thing to say, it's like you're doing it completely wrong. So a lot of guys will come to me, let's say we go to the mall, and they'll be like, do you like that girl? I was like, oh yeah, she's real pretty. I go, well, go approach her, say this next. Well, now this is what men will always say to me. What's the right thing to say? You just blew it. The left brain is the either or brain. It's the right or wrong thinking. Either or. Either or thinking is what turns women off. That's deduction. The other thing is when you're in deductive thinking with a logical brain, that is not natural. So what did she say? Well, you're not being genuine. You're not being yourself. You're not being authentic. It's because you're thinking. Thinking is not being yourself. Speaking without thinking, now that's genuine. And they can tell because you're just rattling off. You're not thinking. You're not, what's the right thing to say? Right or wrong? What's going to turn her on? What's going to make her like me? Like all that shit is just wrong. I'm going to be really honest, it makes you look like a robot. Remember how she said, like, they get that look on their face and their eyes? It is robotic, it is creepy, and it is weird. And here's the thing, you do it all the time thinking she likes it. No, they don't like it. And you're like, well, what are you talking about? When you take my course and come to the other side, I'll take you to a coffee shop or a store, and you go, Mike, look at that guy. I'm like, yeah, like you, like a freaking robot that's completely disconnected. Trust me, it is creepy. And here's the thing, you're not, oh, not me. Like, oh, yes, trust me. Here's the other thing. When you take the course, we condition this back into you to be natural. So it takes hours and hours and exercises to get you back inside in who you truly are. And once you start doing it and you start talking without thinking, you go, oh, wait a minute. I used to do this when I was a kid. Like, yeah. That's what I was telling you. Society has been conditioning you and brainwashing you to be stuck in the box so they can manipulate you and use you and throw you away like cannon fodder. And I'm not kidding. So number one, you were born with literally with a disadvantage. That corpus callosum damage, okay, getting you stuck. Number two, you are then conditioned by society. The reason why her body actually does that to you, it's like a beehive or an ant colony. A certain amount of the ants have to go off and die in war so the rest of the colony or the beehive can survive and thrive and live a good life. And guess what? If you're one of those males who's stuck in your left brain, you're the cannon fodder. Your job is to go fight in war and to die for the rest of us so we can drive around in our Porsches and our Ferraris and date the pretty women. Now, remember I kept telling you, you're seeing it from one side, that once you pop out of it, you'll see it from the other side. Once you pop out to the other side of your brain, inductive thinking, and you start using this part of your brain, it attracts women to you like honey, like bees to honey or flies to honey or whatever you want to say it. Women will literally walk up to you and talk to you. They will open up conversations with you. All of a sudden, everything turns around. As you get better and better at this, you start dating higher value women. Beautiful women, more attractive women. And here's the other thing. Women do not respect men that are in the left brain and the deductive thinking. They disrespect those men because they don't have any respect for men who can't think for themselves, who cannot see in the wider open way. When you're in the left brain, your pupils literally get small, so you can only see what's right in front of you. That turns her off. When her mating system sees that, this is not a worthy mate. See, a lot of you guys keep throwing that phrase around, oh, I'm a higher value male, I'm a higher value man. No, you're not. Not if you're logical, not if you're linear, not if you're external, not to her mating system, and that's what it matters. See, you think it's about logic, and I'm fucking telling you, it's not. But you know what? You say that all the time. You say to women, oh, women aren't logical. Women aren't logical. Yes, you're right. They're not. N-O-T. They are not logical. And you're saying what I'm saying. It's not about logic. It's about emotions and feelings and sensuality, etc., etc. And all of that is the internal world, the inside world that my goddaughter said about being inside, and it's about the right brain. That's where her mating system is connected to, not the left brain, not the logical brain. So you're correct, women are not, N-O-T, are not logical. If you try to get laid and keep a woman married to you for more than 5, 6, 7 years by logic, you're fighting a losing battle, and it's going to be a headache, arguing and fighting and bitching, moaning and complaining. But when you shift over to the other side, the game changes into your favor 100%. Now you're the one who's in charge of the relationship. And women will start to look at you like this. And that, my friends, is the key. The first thing you need to do is buy my book, Crack the Female Code. So go to crackthefemalecode.com and buy that book and download it right now. It's on sale, but not for much longer. The price is going back up. If you really want to get a jump on it, get my package. It's worth $200 some, $225 right now. It's on sale for $75. You get my book, Crack the Female Code. Get the girl, keep the girl. I'm drawing a blank on the other book right now. There's another book involved. Oh, yeah, the body language, sex signals, and then you get a list of internal words which will help prepare you for the course. So first, it's called the Ultimate Package, okay? Second, read the book Crack the Female Code. That is the core book of all of it. The second thing is you can read either Get the Girl, Keep the Girl, and then read Sex Signals, and then look over that list of words. And then the fifth thing you do is you come in and you take the course. So the very final thing I want to throw in there is this. Like I said in the beginning, this is the third thing, or the second thing on the piece I was going to teach you. Here's how men talk. Men talk in a word, a phrase, or a sentence. And men go back and forth, blah, 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 blah. So you go back and forth like a ping pong or a tennis court, back and forth, hitting the ball back and forth. And this irritates the piss out of women. The way a woman talks is one woman talks, the other one shuts up and listens to receive. In other words, she's not thinking of, what am I going to say next? And a lot of guys, well, I'm trying to let her know that I'm actually paying attention by telling her what I think she's going to say next. Like, don't do that. And don't think about what you're going to say next. Women will speak in paragraphs like blah, 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 and they'll go on and on and on. And then the other woman talks, and she'll talk in paragraphs. Now here's the deal. It's actually the most intelligent way of communicating. You're actually sitting there listening to understand what she's saying. So if you listen to understand what she's saying, you'll understand 80, 90%, maybe even 100% of what she said the first time. But when you go back and forth, back, I've seen men have the same conversation for 6 effing weeks and still argue and fight and realize they don't understand each other. And then finally one guy goes, well, why didn't you say that 2 weeks ago or 6 months ago? He's like, I was trying to, but you kept interrupting me. Let me tell you something right now. We will teach you in the course how to listen in the right brain way. When you learn how to do that, it will unconsciously trigger her mating system and her pupils will dilate. And she will melt like this. You'll see those puppy's eyes and you'll see her body movement and her face and muscles relax and soften. One thing I want to say about induction and inductive thinking, your brain is not used to it because it's expansive, it's expanding out. The left brain is the deductive brain, the right brain is the expansive brain. It's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together and building up to the bigger picture. The right brain is the bigger picture brain. This is what attracts women to you. If you don't do it, you're going to turn her off. Alright guys, click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, buy the Ultimate Package and read the book Crack the Female Code.